I enjoyed that piece so much, it meant so much to us, that I decided to do it again. So one of the few times where I don't reproduce it, but I did another piece called Lady in Red. Lady in Red 2. Mm-hmm. Lady in Red 2, that's, those are misters.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, so we got a Lady in Red 2. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one of the negatives about letting work go into a collection, any private collection, is that once it's in that collection, it's lost to the rest of the world. The rest of the world will probably never see it. Mm-hmm. Even though we had the privilege of going and borrowing pieces back for exhibition. But basically, I tried not to do that. Mm-hmm. So Lady in Red 2, the first thing I needed to do is take a good photograph, of which I take my own photographs, get it into publication, partially because that publish or perish thing, but once it's into a publication, if it's a good photograph, other people will have an opportunity to see it. I got it into a publication. It was an international publication, and I also got a piece, in that particular edition, I had a piece on the cover of the magazine. Another collector by the name of Donnelly, who was in publishing. You may have heard of Donnelly Directory. Mm-hmm. I believe his publishing office was in Chicago, but he lives in Florida. An avid bird hunter was in another country on a bird hunt. Saw the magazine, called me up, and said things like, I really like your work. I like the piece, especially the piece on the cover. So he wanted the piece on the cover. He also wanted Lady in Red 2. And after the Lady in Red 2, I did another piece, which you may have seen in there. It's called Today She Wore Yellow. To break it all down, I got $9,000 for Lady in Red 2. Lady in Red 1 went for $5,500, and I owed him 2 more pieces. So from a financial point of view, it was a disaster. It would have been better for me to go and borrow the money from the bank or credit card, whatever, than to let it go into Irv's collection. However, I never regretted a moment that I did that, because there she was, Lady in Red 1, alongside of a lot of other really, really great works by other people. But it was also in the family of works that I had done, which were among the very best work that I'd ever done. So it was in a very good place. But that was Irv Lipton. He was a wonderful, wonderful man, and his passing left a huge hole in all of our lives. Not that it was a financial loss for us, but we lost the family. The family of great artists who periodically got together for the most any reason was a good reason to get together. I remember there was an artist who was, if he was coming into town, the first place he would stop would be at Lipton, but it was his birthday. So a week before he got in town, the phone calls went out, and there must have been 50 people from all over the country for a birthday party at Irv Lipton's place. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
I do have one question, and I don't know if you can speak to this directly, but do you have a sense of why he chose to give part of his collection to the Long Beach Museum of Art?
Well, giving his work to museums started before his death, when he realized that I think he saw for the first time the scope and depth of what he had done in that part of his life. He had amassed not only one or two works, but what he would do is if he found an artist that he liked and he purchased a piece from him, periodically he would purchase or acquire another piece and another piece and another piece. So what he actually had was the only collection in its existence that had, for example, you could pick out one artist, like Michael Graham, for example, and you could go to his collection, and there you would see one of the first pieces that he had done, and then another piece. And you could see the growth and maturity and the development of one artist in one collection. That was extremely rare. And so when Irv figured out that that's what he had done, because I don't think he planned to do that. It just happened. He realized that, well, groups and museums from all over the country, all over the world, were coming to Encino to visit his collection. And Irv loved it. I remember I was there when one of the curators of the Smithsonian came to visit Irv to see Irv's collection. I was there, and Irv was in heaven. He was walking around and showing the director all of this wonderful work, and the director was walking all over his mouth open. Oh my God, oh my God, look at this, look at that, oh my God, look at that. And Irv then realized that there needed to be more public access to what he had done. And that's when he began to think about giving works or parts of the works to more public spaces. The LA County Museum was one of the first to receive works from Irv Lipton, and one of the first museums that had an exhibition. It was a very small exhibition, but it was in the LA County Museum of Art. That was extremely important. And so Irv began to let pieces go to other museums and other agencies, public agencies, who either had some interest or had given a request of some kind to him for works. And that's how the museum in Long Beach eventually got some pieces of Irv's before he passed away. And once he was gone, the family had to decide what's going to happen to all this work. And so it's being very slowly disseminated to major museums all over the country.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at the list of institutions receiving work, I mean, it's really amazing.
Not shabby.
And that's one of the things is I think it's so interesting for me is that the Long Beach Museum of Art was included in that list, you know, with these other really world-class institutions.
The Long Beach Museum, like I said, back in '80, had a solo exhibition of mine. And most of the work that was in there was made of wood. And soon after that, I believe they had another. But the idea of wood being a media in a museum collection started with the Long Beach Museum back in the 70s.
Interesting.
And so when they heard about Irv,
1 minute left.
Yeah, when they heard about Irv, I think it was kind of natural that Irv would say, "Oh, well, you've got some wood already, and so here's some more."
Well, thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing your work in the exhibition that's coming up.
Well,